Appreciate you tuning in to Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. And joining with us here is Bishop Lawrence Persico. He is the Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Erie. How many counties now, Bishop?
13.
13 counties.
13 counties.
And Erie's the largest county, right?
Well, population-wise,
yes. Yeah.
But there's 13 counties, 10,000 square miles.
Oh, my goodness. And you travel all of them several times a year, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, what's the furthest one? Is that
Potter.
Elk? Potter, okay.
Yeah. That's like...
Maybe more moose than Catholics in Potter.
More moose than people.
Than people, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people go there for hunting and that.
Sure.
But, like, that's almost a 3-hour drive.
Is it really?
One way.
Wow. Well, happy New Year for the church, right?
Advent begins the new church year, and we began that December 1st. So we're into the third week of Advent. And soon, as you know, we'll be celebrating the great feast of Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you grow older as a pastor of these thousands and thousands of people, is there something new that is revealed to you about Christmas?
Yeah, I think what you begin to see is, especially as you get older and you're dealing more with people, are the real things that mean something about Christmas. Why do we celebrate it?
Yeah.
You know, it's more than just gifts, but it's recognizing the fact that Christ came into our life through the incarnation, mm-hmm. and gave us direction, but more importantly, is with us. Even though we may not see him physically, but he has promised to be with us to the end of time. So it's a deeper meaning that we begin to see in the celebration of Christmas.
Well, gives, I think about, what are the four pillars of the Advent candle? What is it? Joy and hope and love and peace, right? And you think about how many people have lost hope, and the idea of the incarnation of Christ, and like you just said, his availability to us right then, right now. You don't need to be on a kneel or in church, but you could reach out to him and ask for his help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of times we think if we pray, it has to be a formal way, mm-hmm. but not necessarily. When you encounter a poor person and do some good deed, you're actually encountering Christ in that poor person. So the face of Christ is there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't always recognize it.
Wow, that's amazing. And what is so neat about, the Catholic tradition and the Catholic Church is that it's been on the forefront of serving the least of these,
That's a very important aspect because of the Catholic Church, because what we're doing is it's faith and good works. Mm-hmm. You can have faith, but without good works, you're dead.
Yeah, James. Yeah.
Yeah. What's important is the fact that what we believe and profess, we have to put into action. Mm-hmm. We can't profess and then not do anything.
There's controversy around the social justice gospel, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, though, what you're just talking about, being an agent of grace, an agent of change.
Exactly.
That's beyond social justice. That's just, being activated by the Holy Spirit.
Right. Living your faith.
Yeah.
And being a part of that. So it's very important. Earlier you said about people not having hope. Mm-hmm. Well, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has declared 2025 as a Jubilee year. And the theme is that we live out that hope and be agents of hope for people. So it's a 1 year, every every 25 years, there's a Jubilee year. The last Jubilee year was in 2000, and then we have this year. But in 2015, there was an extraordinary Holy Year.
Really?
Right, that the Pope called. But this one is that it involves the whole church. Now, the Holy Father on Christmas will open what they call the Holy Doors at St. Peter's. But then he will go around to the different basilicas. In fact, on December 29th, he will open the Holy Doors at St. John Lateran, which is the Pope's, it's the Church of the Bishop of Rome. The cathedral, not St. Peter's, but St. John Lateran. And he's asked all bishops throughout the world to open the Holy Year in their diocese on December 29th. So this year I'll be at the cathedral for the 11 o'clock Mass, and we're not going to open doors, but we will open the Holy Year, the Jubilee year.
It's funny because I was a 12-year-old kid in 1975, and I remember specifically how important the year of the Jubilee was back then.
Yes.
At our church,
Right. It was, and through our worship office, we are putting out information. As a matter of fact, the communications office has a bulletin that's sent to all the parishes every week so that they can run that in their bulletin, put it on their website, and it has different activities for families, different prayers. So we're trying to get the whole community involved.
Yeah. The when you talk about there's activities and things, would they be able, do you anticipate that there might be some kind of special events or speakers? I mean, what's that look like in Jubilee?
Well, we're leaving a lot of it up to the parishes.
Okay.
We give them the information, and then they can put it together as they please. But the diocese is sponsoring a pilgrimage to Rome because that's part of a Jubilee is pilgrimage. So people who are interested could go to our website, sign up for it. The leader of the pilgrimage, the priest, spiritual director, is Father Michael D. Martinez.
Nice.
Everybody knows him.
Sure, yeah.
And so people could, if you can't go to Rome, you can go to the cathedral, make a pilgrimage there. And since our diocese is so large, I've designated St. Leo Magnus Parish in Ridgeway as another site. So people can make pilgrimages to these places.
Do they still do the 40 hours and things like that?
Some places do, yes.
I mean, because that used to be a very special, it was almost like an enhanced spiritual moment for the parish,
Right. It was,
and all the priests would come.
A lot of priests would come. That we still have Eucharistic devotion, but it's not as intense or similar to what the 40 hours was like.
Yeah.
Because that was like sometimes a 3-day event. Now, some of the parishes in the diocese do have even a week of it, more than 40 hours.
Whoa.
And they bring in different priests to talk and speak.
Yeah.
And then they have, adoration, benediction. So it's held in various ways.
Yeah. Do you anticipate kind of a strong family focus that this would be the family unit really kind of taking advantage of the Jubilee?
Jubilee is always a family, whether it's the large family of the church community or individual families. Individual families can make pilgrimages to these two churches, the cathedral here in Erie and St. Leo's in Ridgeway.
That's neat. Yeah, certainly an important time for the church to kind of contemplate. And almost to kind of find its bearings a little bit of saying, where are we at? And, what's our relevance? And so
Right. That was part of it too, that, it kind of becomes a reminder. It's that like alarm clock in our spiritual life.
Yeah.
Saying, it's time to do this.
Right.
It's time to pray. It's time to have a greater devotion to our faith. So all of that is part of it.
I'm trying to think. So you were a kid during the 1950
I was
Jubilee.
born that year.
You were okay.
I'm a Jubilee.
You are a Jubilee kid.
I'm a Jubilee. I was a Jubilee baby. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, the great Jubilee of 1950.
Yeah. Celebrated with Bishop Persico. Let's take our break. When I come back, I want to ask you about, growing up in Christmas in Buffalo, or, how, you didn't grow up in Buffalo?
No, I'm from Western Pennsylvania. I grew up in a place called Monessen.
All right, we're gonna talk about now. But you were on staff up in Buffalo, right? Or no?
No, I've never been.
Why am I thinking of you in Buffalo?
Bishop Troutman.
That's got to be it.
Yeah.
All right, Manasseh. We're gonna talk about that. Growing up, midnight mass. I did all of that back in the day. Back in a bit. Bishop Lawrence Persico is with us here on this Christmas season, Advent, certainly in a very important time for the church. Bishop, talk about, Western PA growing up, Christmas, you guys probably didn't have as much snow as we did up here. I mean, we
would get snow, but it certainly wasn't like it was after
Right.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
But we would get it. And the only difference is my hometown, we had a lot of hills.
Oh, okay, sure.
So when you got snow, you had to be very careful. Oil City reminds me of it because
Did you have a toboggan or a sled?
sled?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's fun to do.
Oh yeah, because we had hills all over the place.
Sure.
But Christmas was very important in the family. We did the traditional fish dinner.
Okay, right. You're Persicos or you're Italian.
Italian,
Did you do the 7 fishes or
6?
6 fishes? Yeah.
I don't know which one we didn't have,
Right.
but there were quite a few.
Wow.
And also the pasta,
Yeah.
and broccoli, and it was all part. And the whole family would gather. We would get so many relatives at the house for dinner that we had our basement, which was finished, but a special table was set up with a board and everything.
Nice.
And then you had the kids' table.
Yeah, I was always in the kids' table.
Yeah.
The did you ever sing in the choir or do any of this midnight mass stuff?
I was an altar server.
Okay.
So I had to go for midnight mass, and sometimes that wasn't easy because the family would be celebrating, and then you had to say, okay, time to go to mass.
Right. Yeah.
So we would do that, and it was all the altar servers. It wasn't just a select few, because they would have big processions. And,
Okay.
we would sing. The choir would sing the Italian hymn "Tu scende della stella," and it was quite an event.
So this was a Catholic, an Italian Catholic church in your small town?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there were 5 ethnic churches in the
Were
town.
there really?
Yeah. So we were at the Italian parish. We had Italian, Polish, Croatian, Slovak, and what they considered the American parish.
And of course, all of this is pre-Vatican II. So,
Right.
So, what was it? Was it in Latin or was it?
When I first started, sure, it was in
Yeah.
Latin, but even now, they're down to one church.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's demographics.
Sure.
But yeah, so when I started as a altar server, we had to learn the Latin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was always impressed, and again, growing up at St. Paul's, beautiful crèche, beautiful nativity scene, with all that Italian everything, right? And it was just pretty amazing to see, people coming together. Now, later they had an adult choir, but in my era in the mid-'70s, the 7th and 8th graders from St. Paul's School were the choir. So we had to do the whole gig. We had to do midnight mass, get back up and do the 8 o'clock in the morning and sing for Christmas Day. So that was a lot on a young guy.
Yeah.
It was a sacrifice. Yes.
Sure. No, we had an all male choir.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
you didn't have kids or women. Oh yeah. It wasn't until a lot later that they started allowing women into the choir. But that was just,
And now, of course, women can be servers, correct?
right.
Yeah.
So, that's how much it has changed.
There's no doubt about it. We again, we're telling these old stories.
Right.
But people are able to make memories right now.
Sure.
You think about how beautiful the service is. And let's talk about Christmas Eve at the cathedral, because it's always amazing.
Yeah. Well, this year, they'll have caroling at 11:30, and midnight mass starts at midnight.
Sure.
And we usually get a good turnout. It'll be on live streaming, and also I think Jet TV will also broadcast it. But it's always a nice affair because you get people who come home for the holidays, and they come to Mass.
Right.
And they bring family members. And you have people who come to midnight Mass who aren't even Catholic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's just sort of like a tradition with them.
Sure, sure. Well, and what occurs to me too is, and by the way, we will be broadcasting the audio on Talk Erie starting
great.
at 11:30 here, so that'll be neat. What occurs to me too is that again, the message doesn't change yet. The context and the need for it evolves and changes. And honestly, every year that we go through, every year that we get older, every year that we either suffer loss or have circumstances change, midnight Mass, and the liturgy in and of itself, the Eucharist, is new and vibrant for us.
Yes, that doesn't change, and the presentation of the faith, the way we present it, the way in which we try to help people understand it, that may change.
Sure.
But the basics are still there. That doesn't change. And the Mass is what it's always been, gathering of the community to praise Christ and God.
Do you think that we might see some upticks now that COVID seems to be totally out?
Well, actually, some of the pastors have told me that their people are coming back.
Neat.
Because
even with the live streaming and all the things now.
Yeah,
right?
Live streaming served a purpose.
Yeah.
But I really think the people have this hunger to be in community, which you can only get by attending. You can watch it on a screen, but it's still not the same.
Yeah, not
as being there.
Especially the grandeur of the whether you're going to the cathedral or your local parish.
Right.
I mean, you can't get that on a screen.
No. No, and you really don't participate as well.
Yeah. So do you get together with family for Christmas?
I do. What I was doing was going to. My brother he continued the tradition.
Oh, okay.
Now, one of his sons has decided to continue the tradition because my brother died.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But it's still instilled in. But what's funny is because of the ethnic mixes, it's not just fish anymore.
Right.
They have pierogi.
Oh, is that right?
Shrimp.
Wow.
So it's been a little modified for the modern taste, you might say.
I love it. We're talking to Bishop Persico here. We'll get into some of the things that he's dealing with changes and things that are happening in the church here, and seeing how this broad diocese is doing here through the reorganization and so on here. So we'll get into some of the church work that Bishop is working on. Again, midnight Mass starts with carols at 11:30, and midnight obviously is Mass at the cathedral or more than likely at your local parish. It is 4:30. Talk Erie. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Bishop Lawrence Persico, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Erie, is with us here, and we appreciate you joining us here.
Thank you.
Bishop, I want to talk to you about, just kind of the state of what's a significant transition that the diocese has been going through. We've been talking about now, I want to say 2 or 3 years.
Well, being on your show, we've discussed it.
Yeah.
But we were in the process for 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
Wow. Did it start with like data? I know you do the October data collection thing.
Well, it started with more data, and then also gathering information from the parishes and looking at national statistics, even government statistics on population and how that diminishes, what we used to be to what we are today. So it was, and I did sections at a time. I didn't do the whole diocese because that would have been unwieldy. But it took us longer because of the process I used. We put out what we called a preliminary plan, and we asked people to react to it. And I'll tell you, Joel, some of the reaction was better than what we suggested.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the case in point, do you think?
Well, we have what we call partner parishes. So it would have been, you partner with X is going to be your new partner. And the people came back and said, no, we should go to Y. Because the group I had working with me, we don't know every nook and cranny in the eastern part of the diocese, even though we had priests from that. But, what roads are the best roads to get to?
Makes sense.
And that. So that's why it took us longer. And then we finished it here in Erie County.
So Erie County was the last of the of the figuring out.
Right. As far as I'm concerned, now we're just going to deal with on an as-needed basis.
I have to ask you, and again, this is just a sincere curiosity because I understand that this is based on mostly a who's available to minister, not necessarily the cost of the buildings, because you're leaving the buildings open and heated and lights.
Yes. It's about the population and the number of clergy we have for ministry. So, what do you do in a case where for Sunday you have 40 people at Mass or less, and you need to cover that place?
Yeah.
But yet you have places here in Erie County that are very large, like Our Lady of Peace, St. George, St. Jude, and trying to cover those places.
Have those churches, more because of their location, become more just more well attended? Is it really about location? I guess
part of it is location, because if you take like St. Jude, it's not in the city; it's in Mill Creek.
Right.
So where are most of our people? I'll give you a good example. When the city was starting out, the Church of St. Andrew was considered the end of the run. There was nothing else out there.
That's right.
And then people started to move to the suburbs. So you had St. Andrew's and then St. Julia's, which was a good distance, where mainly it was more rural. So as the population grew, St. Jude came into existence. The same way with St. George.
Sure. That was a little town of Kearsarge, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There was just a little church there, and look at it now.
Right.
Our Lady of Peace was the same thing. As people started to reach the suburbs, they, wanted a church near them.
Sure.
So that's why a lot of these places were started. And look how big they are.
Yeah. So there's that movement of people, but overall you're dealing with population decline.
Yes.
And then we're dealing with a real reality of less attendance,
Well, that's part of it, but also the number of clergy.
Correct.
You know, especially when you look at a lot of families would promote vocations among their children, but if you have one child, it's a little different story.
Sure. What is the latest? How many candidates are there? Let's say for this year's ordination.
In 2025, we will ordain two. We have 2 deacons now who will be ordained priest, and we're not going to have any more ordinations after that for a while.
Wow.
So there's going to be a gap. But they're 2 fine men, and I think they'll do well when they get ordained. Both of them now are studying at St. Vincent's in Latrobe.
Yeah.
So that should work out.
I'm really interested in your opinion on this.
Sure.
Much like in the medical field, you have a MD that's in charge, but you also have nurse practitioners or physician's assistants.
Right.
Could there be a scenario in the church where a lay assistant maybe can't consecrate the Eucharist, but certainly could conduct Mass? No, it's not going to happen.
No. To do Mass, you need a priest.
Okay.
Even a deacon can't do Mass.
Gotcha.
Because a deacon has, and we have a lot of permanent deacons. In fact, we're ready to start another class. But they have a specific role or function. They could preach at Mass. They could lead funeral services. They can help distribute Eucharist, go to sick calls, etc., etc. But they can't absolve sin, and they can't say Mass.
Okay, so that's the dividing line.
Right.
So a lot of the practical functioning of the church, though, can be aided by laity.
Oh, absolutely. They're important, and we need them.
Yeah.
Because if you look at any parish, who's doing a lot of the work? It's the lay people, men and women, who come forward. They're readers, extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion, catechist. Those are all important positions, and we would be in terrible shape without them.
Yeah. And at this point, we probably want to engage them into that evangelization. I'm sure that's happening already, right?
Right, because that's the role of all Christians, is to evangelize. It's not the priest's job. It's not the nun's job. It's not the deacon's job. They're required to do that, but it's your job, my job, to live a life of evangelization.
Yeah. Let's pivot to Christian education and the Catholic schools, K-12 system, and things. Has that stabilized? What's going on with that?
We're facing the same problems with our Catholic schools because of enrollment.
Population loss again.
Population loss, and when you don't have a lot of younger people in the pipeline, it makes it difficult. So the ones in the Erie Catholic school system, that's elementary, are doing well. We still have prep co-ed and Mercier's prep co-ed. So, but it's always a challenge for them to get students.
Yeah, when you consider, the number of Catholic high schools, Catholic grade schools, even, 30 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
I just recently, back in the spring, closed Venango Catholic.
Wow.
It was a high school down in Oil City. But they were down to 40-some kids
Were they really?
for 4 years.
Wow.
But I'm trying to save the elementary school, St. Stephen's.
Down in Oil City.
In Oil City, yeah.
So what's remaining as far as high schools? Is there still Kennedy Catholic or
Kennedy Catholic seems to be on the uptick.
Yeah.
We have Kennedy, Du Bois Central, Elk County Catholic, and of course, what's in the city.
And the two in the city.
Right.
Wow. That's breathtaking a little bit, isn't it?
Well, it's just changing times.
Sure.
And we have to adjust.
Mm-hmm. What's from a pastoral view? How would you encourage a family? Maybe they have little guys. Maybe they've got 3 and 4 year olds, and they're like, what am I? We're going to send these kids to Catholic school or not? What would be a good decision making?
Well, I think, one thing about a Catholic school that never changes is the fact that it's Christ-centered. You learn about your faith there and what that means. You're not going to learn that in a public school. That's not their role.
Yeah.
But in a Catholic school, it's the fact that each day can be an encounter with Jesus Christ. In fact, even in the curriculum, we're trying to show you don't have to talk about God only in religion class, but in biology, in science, even in mathematics.
Sure.
So that's where the difference is. Now, I know a lot of times parents feel that the expense, but our teachers have to have a living wage too.
Sure. Yeah, not everybody can make that kind of sacrifice as a teacher, but they've always been dedicated. I mean, I'm the product of 16 years of Catholic education. I mean, it's something that my dad worked 3 jobs to make us, all 8 of us kids.
Well, that was part of it too.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted your kids to go, parents were doing extra work.
Yeah. Just picking up jobs or raising money to get a scholarship or what have you, right?
Right.
And there's just a lot of opportunities too. You're in an environment where, at least for me at Mercier's Prep, I was able to do, if I wanted to be on the yearbook, I could do it. Like I had all of my interests entertained.
Yeah, there were more advantages.
Yes.
Because it wasn't like a large public school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else? We talked about Jubilee, but I'm interested in what are the other things that the diocese is working on as we go into the new year. Again, starting the new church year. I know you've had some big checkpoints. Is there is there any youth gatherings or things like that?
Actually, we've changed the age for confirmation.
You have.
We're moving it down to 9th grade.
Okay.
From before it was a junior or senior.
Interesting.
Well, years ago it used to be 8th grade. Here
Right.
In the diocese.
Right.
But then they started to make it longer. But what I found out was in talking to parents, by the time the kid is as a senior, they have so many other distractions.
Yeah.
They're not going to faith formation.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make them younger? Plus, each year, the faith formation department puts on an all-youth retreat in preparation for confirmation. This year, we were in Bradford.
Oh, cool.
We had probably about maybe almost 400 kids.
Wow.
That's from all over the diocese.
But they all came to Bradford. Wow.
To the, what is that, Pitt campus at
Pitt
Bradford.
yeah.
Beautiful campus.
Sure.
And, they spent the day. And I had Mass for them.
Fantastic.
Last year, we were at Mercier's Prep. Again, maybe 200 plus.
Nice.
It's good.
So that's going on. You're pretty much set on your church configurations for now, right?
For now. And we'll address other situations as they arise.
Yeah. And as far as other issues, have you? Have you had to deal with any other concerns or financial things or
Well, we have been watching our budget.
Yeah.
So this for the budget for 25, we really cut back a lot.
Oh, okay.
Because we just didn't have the resources.
No, but you've got some capital improvements going on in the cathedral. I mean, it seems like you have to keep the maintenance up and things.
You have to keep maintenance up, but I have to also say that a lot of what's being done at the cathedral is through the work of Father Michael Farrick, getting donors and
good
stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's the rector at the.
He's
cathedral.
the rector of the cathedral. Yeah,
he's a great guy too. Finally, what's the state of women religious? I mean, how are the women?
Well, unfortunately, in our diocese, it's aging out.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a thing going on about 15, 20 years ago where it was getting hipper to become a nun? Or was that just the media going nuts a little bit?
I don't know about that. But, I've tried to, there's some of these very popular religious communities.
Yes.
And I've tried to invite them in, but they never bit.
Okay. Wow.
So I would, because some of them have very young members.
Right.
And because some of our young people, the women who want to be nuns, sisters, they'll go to Nashville, they'll go to Michigan, Adrian Dominicans, Nashville Dominicans, Nashville or Steubenville Franciscans.
So there's almost that, where there's something kind of going on. Nashville's a very growing town.
Yeah.
Certainly Steubenville is a very attractive place.
Well, that's the other thing too. Where there's population, there are people going. Yeah, and I. But
even Steubenville's kind of like this Catholic conclave.
It is. Plus the university there.
Correct. Yeah.
So that makes a difference.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
To say, hey, come to Erie. We have beautiful summers.
Well, we tried inviting a group in, and we had a lot of conversation. Yeah. But the bottom line was, we're too overextended as it is.
Yeah. One more minute with Bishop Persico. Give an invitation to the faithful to make sure that they make church a part of Christmas celebration.
Good. I would like to invite them to, whether they're Catholic or whatever Christian denomination, that they take the opportunity to come together in their faith communities and celebrate the birth of Christ. Celebrate the fact that our God came down on earth, took our form, and wanted to be able to teach us how to live. And it's an excellent opportunity to celebrate Christmas without some kind of attention to one's faith is antiseptic. So I would encourage all of your listeners to do that this Christmas.
Bishop Lawrence Persico, Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Erie. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to all your listeners, too.